Well, I think that it's very clear to politicians, but also to corporations, that the utility plays an essential role in supporting the economy. And so when there is accusations that the solar industry's success negatively impacts the utility, it necessarily hurts us. It hurts our ability to grow as an industry. And so we have to address those concerns head on. Well, I mean, I think that we will maintain 20 to 25% growth per year through 2020, which will get us to 1,000 gigawatts of installations by 2020. So I'm quite bullish. So it's not solar that's impacting the utility business directly. It's everything that comes after solar. What you find is that people who do solar first, which they normally do solar first, think about energy efficiency after they do solar. And so that means then now they've reduced their energy consumption from solar, but they've also reduced the amount of electricity they're purchasing from the utility via energy efficiency. And so you start to see a pattern of education of the people around how they can take control of their electricity future. And what this means is zero growth, and in some cases negative growth for utility companies, which is really quite problematic for them. We're in the early stages of this now, but you see this with RWE in Germany, you see this with PG&E in California, where their electricity costs have gone up substantially. And the reason they've gone up substantially is not because of the costs of the solar program, but because they have started to lose revenue, right? So today, they've lost so much revenue that the fixed costs that they have to bear, they now are spreading amongst a smaller population of people that are buying their power, or smaller kilowatt hour volume. And so what they've done is they've started to fight solar power. So they've started to fight solar power by helping to eliminate net metering in the United States, which PG&E has failed to do so far after spending over $70 million of shareholder money trying to fight solar. So you're starting to see pushback from the utility because they see that their utility business model will be disrupted fundamentally. Well, I think it's important to note that when you look at the transition from landline phones to mobile phones, there were opportunities in there for the large telephone companies as well. And many of them really didn't take advantage of them until after the fact. So after the fact, if they were still financially capable, they bought the mobile phone company. But many of them didn't start the mobile phone revolution. And I think what you will see is exactly the same thing in the US and probably around the world with utility companies, is that in Europe, utility companies are generally monopoly providers, so they're going to have the financial resources to buy into the market, and they'll start owning some of these solar asset companies. But in the US, I think you will see probably 50% of all the utility companies in the US either go out of business or merge into another utility, and then those resultant utilities that are larger will buy their way into the industry. I don't think they're going to get involved in a major way at this stage. Well, it's not in our interest to help the utilities, right? So I think that the solar industry, their job is to take the passion and the anger against the utility companies and use it to their advantage to sell more solar. And so by definition, the solar industry is not supposed to solve this problem. But as a solar executive, as I am, I feel concerned that if we start to gut all of the most profitable customers out of the utility, they will be left with the poor and the elderly. And those people are least able to afford the higher costs that will remain if you stay on the grid. And so I think it's important for the solar industry to talk about ways in which the utility might be able to really front end this, and so we avoid some of the most catastrophic impacts which will affect the poor and the elderly.